Previously on the last Pokemon challenge, L4 levitate, S4 stays up in the air I suppose, and coming up, here take my crap and pay me for it. Today on Pokemon Crystal we return to the SuperMON challenge. Welcome back everybody to the SuperMON challenge. It has been a while, hasn't it? Today we are finishing off the Generation 2 starters. We did Typhlosion and Feraligatr right at the end of last year, but we never did Meganium. Part of the reason was because this would be the trickiest of them, and the other part of the reason is I had a Meganium Egg Move challenge recorded that's going to be pretty much similar to how I want to play the SuperMON challenge. To get you reacquainted with the rules, this is not against the clock. Instead, this is a points-based system. We will score points the further through the challenge we go. We are going to be needing to be playing very carefully in this challenge though, because we get one chance. If we faint, the run is over. And now we do score points throughout the challenge, and they look like this. Those plotline trainers, there are 4 of them that I've picked. It's Slowpoke Rockets, Kimono Girls, Mahogany Rockets, and Radio Tower Rockets. They all score a point each. The rival battles are worth 2 points each. Then all of the Johto leaders are worth 3. All of the Kanto leaders, barring Blue, are worth 4. The Elite 4 are 4 points apiece. Blue is 5 points apiece. And then Red and Lance are both 10 points apiece. And that adds up to a nice round 100 points for the SuperMON challenge. And if we get 100 points, we are classed as a SuperMON. Now, once again, it's boiling hot here in the United Kingdom at the moment. We're potentially going into a record-breaking heat wave, so the window is open, so if you hear any traffic or any birds, no you don't. The learn set, by the way, is very similar to a 4 moves challenge. We are allowed any move that this Pokemon could legally have in Generation 2, except for Hidden Power and Return. Neither of those moves is allowed in the SuperMON challenge. That is just to amp up the difficulty ever so slightly, because they are both very, very good crutch moves. As it turns out, I probably wouldn't have used either of them in Meganium's SuperMON challenge, because we don't really need them. And the other big difference is we are playing with a level cap. So that level cap will match the leader's highest Pokemon. There are a few ways we can work around the level cap, especially in the mid-game, but for the most part, our next gym leader's highest Pokemon will be the level we go in at. We might scam things a little bit around the Jasmine Chuck price area, but that's well within the rules of the challenge. And it's well within the spirits of the challenge, because the point here is to get as far as we can in one life. And we don't want to arbitrarily lose a challenge just because the Pokemon that we're playing with would have a worse time against a gym leader with a lower level cap. So there is that little bit of autonomy within the challenge, and I think that makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting as well. Because we're not against the clock, we can afford to play a little bit slower as well. And for our moves for Meganium, I'm going for a physical Meganium. It does mean we're not getting Stab, but the grass type isn't a particularly good offensive type anyway. The only Pokemon where we're really going to see any difference at all is against the rock grounds, but we can easily set up because we are quite a bulky Pokemon. Now, SuperMON is really fun, but it is also really, really stressful. I have to make sure that I slow down my gameplay, and I have to make sure that I am not making any silly mistakes, because one silly mistake is enough to end the run. And sometimes in SuperMON we end up with completely miraculous runs. Do you remember the Chicago SuperMON challenge? That one I think will be my favourite SuperMON run we will ever do. Miracling our way through Claire, only to then get knocked out by cool trainer Darren, was completely brutal. It was an emotional roller coaster, but I am all for it. Our level cap has come into play, by the way. We are now at our maximum level cap. We cannot gain any more experience points, but we can gain stat experience. But we're not going to be doing that because we're going straight... Well, we are, I suppose, but we're not going to do any stat experience training. We're going straight in to our first gym leader. Our first gym is the flying type gym. We have the type disadvantage here, so that could put us in a little bit of danger, but I don't think it will. You can see the level cap is still in play here, and we do get through, and we can now take on Falkner. Gym leader, oh dear. I've not committed to the battle, so this does not count as a reset. I forgot to heal. I thought Ancient Power had more PP for some reason. We absolutely need more PP. Now we can take on Falconer. He is our first gym leader. Flying type specialist, going to lead with Pidgey. The good thing about this Pidgey is it doesn't have any flying type moves, so we can set up a couple of sword stances just to be extra sure. We knock out the Pidgey, we're onto the Pidgeotto, we knock it out, and we do defeat Falconer. Zephyr Badge acquired, level cap goes up to 16, and we also now have 16 points. Because this is SuperMON, I am going to go and get the lantern from the top of the Sprout Tower. This is something I generally skip in 4 moves because it is a very, very long sequence. However, in this challenge, it's going to make my life a little bit easier in Kanto. We're also going to get the stat experience and some easy experience off these sages. They're not particularly hard battles, and especially with us being the grass type, Vine Whip isn't going to do too much at all. However, it is still worth doing because it does make life easier, and it's a nice source of early game experience, which will hopefully make Bugsy better. I am a little bit scared of Bugsy. I do think we should have the win just because we have Sword Dance and Ancient Power, and those 2 moves together will be a very, very hard-hitting move against his Scyther. But the best laid plans in this game can sometimes go very, very, very wrong. We cannot rest on our laurels at all for this challenge. We have to play smart, we have to play sensibly, and we have to play slowly. There will be times where I slow down and think quite a lot in battle. There'll be other times where I go like the clappers. For instance, this level 7 Bellsprout, it's not going to be a threat. Neither's this one. We get up to level 13 here, and then we will throw some rocks at the Hoothoot to get it knocked out. So yeah, it's a balancing act with SuperMON because I don't want to spend all the time in the world because that's not really that fun. But I do also want to make sure that I am playing very, very sensibly. We'll do a quick PP heal here now because we don't actually have that many attacking PPs. And now we can leave. And I'm very glad to see that my coding worked there for SuperMON. I was a little bit worried about it. If we get the lantern and the escape rope from up in the Sprout Tower, then we don't get the duplicate anymore. That was something that was an issue that plagued us for quite some time. Now, I don't think it's worth doing too many wild encounters, but I will take on a Hoppip because Hoppip's not actually bad experience, and it will give us a little bit of bulk, but I do want to take on some trainers. I think the trainers are going to be better because we're going to get a better chance of spreading out our stat experience. And while I don't think that's going to be imperative in the first part of the challenge, I think by the time we get to the latter parts of the challenge, we're going to want an awful lot of stat experience. We're fairly lucky in the fact that Meganium is actually a very nippy Pokemon. Base 88 speed is a lot higher than I think a Pokemon like this ought to have, but we're not going to complain at all in this particular instance, because it means we're going to have a much easier time of it when it comes to trainers like Red. I am thinking about the vitamins as well, and I'll probably go for a nice even spread of vitamins in this challenge. Because we've got Sword Dance, I don't need to focus quite so much on our physical attack. That means we can spread things out a little bit more and maybe focus on our survivability and our bulk. We don't really care if it takes an extra hit to knock out a Pokemon, as long as we can survive that hit a little bit more reliably. That's the trade-off between 4 moves and SuperMON. On 4 moves, I'm all about the all-out offensive power. I will do whatever I can to try and knock out the Pokemon in front of me as quickly as possible. In this challenge, all I care about is keeping our Meganium alive as long as possible. And I do think Meganium is going to make that fairly easy for me. The hardest Pokemon I've run is Magcargo in SuperMON. The second hardest is probably Parasect. And I do think it is about time we start running some of these less well-rounded Pokemon, should we say. Somebody in the comments, a very lovely HM friend, I'm not going to name you by name, but you've suggested Kabutops for the SuperMON challenge, especially because SuperMON is your favourite series, and I do think as long as I can get it over the line, as long as I can get it to a place where I feel it's a fair representation of the Pokemon, then the Kabutops challenge will be the next SuperMON challenge. We're going to be doing SuperMON roughly once, twice, maybe 3 times a month. We're going to see where the vibes, where the field takes us. I am doing slightly more videos a month than I used to at the moment, just so that we can all settle in, find our favourite series at the moment, and figure out exactly what we want to see going forwards. But that does give us some extra time to do some fun little bonus challenges as well. Really looking forward to the Kabutops challenge. Started routing it in bed just as I started to fall to sleep last night. Had a look at the learn set, think we can do some interesting stuff with it. I'm not going to spoil it though, because I want you to watch the next video, quite honestly. That's why I'm not going to spoil it. There's no sense in saying I'll go for this, and this move, and I think we'll struggle here, here, and here, because then you won't bloody watch the video, and then I won't be able to make another video, because then I'll give you the preview for the next one in the next video. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know. Quite honestly, my brain is mush with the heat wave. I'm still adjusting to this new medication as well. I just hope that the words are vaguely comprehensible. Let's now take on Bugsy, second gym leader, bug-type specialist, leads with Metapod. We're going to use this Metapod as free setup, 3 swords dances, and then we're going to start flinging rocks in the general direction of Bugsy and his Pokémon. And if we're in any luck, it'll be 3 one-shots. And we don't need to fret. Easy, easy, easy. Another set of points on the board. 9 points, getting up to a level cap now of 20, which isn't too bad at all. By the way, if you're wondering why the Sprout Tower doesn't give you any points, it's because it's a completely optional area. It's not a mandatory area, unlike all of the other storyline points. That's the big difference. I wanted it to be mandatory trainers, so we didn't have to go out of our way to climb something to gain the extra points. And it's looking like this rival battle was very easy as well to get us an extra couple of points, going from 9 up to legs 11 there. So very happy about that, and that means we are able to make our way through to Goldenrod City. And I don't think Whitney's going to be too much of a threat either. I can though see a universe where Clefairy does pull some kind of weird and wonderful move out with Metronome and ends up burning us or something. One thing to note is, because we are running on the 16-bit version now, we are going to have the chance of some non-vanilla moves in the Metronome move pool. I will eventually go through and separate them all out so that that doesn't happen, but that is a possibility at the moment. I do just want to pre-warn you of that. And as for this patch being released, getting really close to it now. I reckon a couple more months at the very most. I want to polish everything up. I am in the process of moving over 100 Pokemon into one single file, and then I've got to test all the moves, I've got to test all the evolutions, I've got to test all the interactions, and then I've also got to test all the game modes that I put in. Eventually the plan is for every single mode that I play here on the channel to be available in one game patch. That does include things like the Pokemon Crystal but Steps Cost Me Money, the Cursed Pokemon run that's coming up soon as well. So I want everything to be available so that you can all learn from my mistakes, shall we say, and play much, much, much better than what I did, because I know I make some silly, silly mistakes in the challenges, but I kind of enjoy doing it. It's part of the fun of the challenge for me. It's a learning experience every single time. What that says about my brain power is for you to decide, but I have fun. That's all I really care about with it. Don't need the coin case because I've ungated the Abra from the game corner there, but I still like picking it up for completion's sake. And because we're not against the clock, it's not going to make any difference at all. Now, we are going to do things in a slightly different order as well here in SuperMON versus in our regular time challenges, because we're almost already at the level cap. So that means it would be a complete waste to go up through Spinner Hell now, as opposed to going through it after Whitney. So that means we are going to do a heal. We'll take on a couple of trainers in Whitney's gym. Depending on how much experience we get will depend on how many we do take on. And then we will take on Whitney herself. So let's do that right now. We'll start off with Last Carry. She's got a Schnappabubble, and Scary Face doesn't mean anything. Yep, we've hit the level cap. That means we can go straight into Whitney. just realised I didn't have my auto music playing in the background, so I fixed that now in time for this gym leader. She is gym leader number 3 of hopefully 16. She is a normal type specialist, and she's going to lead with Clefairy. Let's use the Swords Dance against Clefairy. Metronome uses Nightshade, we're fine with that. Reversal's also good, and then we'll body slam the Clefairy out of here. Miltank is next. It does outspeed, but she has locked into rollouts. We crit, and we defeat her. I feel we might have been a little bit mean there on Whitney, but we do get the playing badge, and we also get up to 14 points on the board. Not a bad little showing there for our third gym. That does mean we are going to take a very, very quick heal now here in the Pokémon Center. Goodness me, the slowdown is real for some reason. Let's try and fix that. We were down to 2 times speed, and then we'll go up to Spinner Hell. It's because I've got a load of stuff rendering in the background for the videos I've just done, and while my PC can handle it during SuperMON, it definitely can't during the time challenges. But also, I'm recording this at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's the only time where it's not that offensively hot in this country at the moment. So I'm having to like consolidate everything, otherwise, even with the new cooling in my PC, it will overheat and everything will cry. And I don't want my PC to cry, because then I can't record more challenges and I can't have the fun I'm having at the moment. We should be fine against this set of Bumhead Fire Ducks as well. We outspeed and we even get an unnecessary crit there, just to rub salt into the wound for Fire Breather Waltz there. And I don't think we'll have any issues at all with Psychic Mark. He should be a nice, easy trainer to take care of as well. There's going to be a divergence in the routing in the middle parts of the challenge as well, because we have the level cap. There's not much sense in climbing the lighthouse early. That means we're going to take on a few more trainers around the Ecruteak area, but we won't be taking on anybody up towards Olivine and the lighthouse. We'll rental Abra back. We have to. You have to do this twice regardless, and then we can keep on going up. You may have noticed we got poison there, by the way. Poison no longer flashes the screen. I know that is something that really, really hurts a lot of your eyes, so I have removed it from this patch. It will still drain the HP as normal. We forgot the squirt bottle, didn't we? Thank goodness this isn't a time challenge. It will still drain the HP as normal, however, we won't be getting any of the flashing or screen effects, so that will make poison slightly more dangerous in some ways, because it's easier to forget about, but also a lot more pleasant on the old eyes than it was before. So that is something that I'm going to try and carry through into the Gen 3 patches as well. No shiny Sudowoodo today, unfortunately, so we'll just leg it away. We'll get the big hammer. We are probably going to use the HP up as opposed to selling it for vitamins, because in this run we are going to have slightly more money than we normally have, because we're going to be battling more trainers than normal. We'll get this ether. Always good to have PP restoration items in SuperMON. And we're going to go straight into the Kimono Girls Dance Theatre here. We're going to take on all of the Kimono Girls. I can't see them being too much of a pain. And the Ecruteak Pokemon Center is not off limits for us in SuperMON. It's technically not off limits in the 4 Moves Challenge. However, it's a bad idea to go in there because it does lose quite a bit of time. I reckon, we're going to get very close to the level cap just by doing the Kimono Girls, and then we'll hit the level cap for the rival. So we're not even going to bother doing any extra training, because Morty's gym then is going to be even more of a waste than it currently is. Bit of a difference between Crystal and Gold and Silver, actually, is that you don't have to do rival number 3 in Gold and Silver. It's an optional battle, whereas in Crystal, you can't go and face Morty until you have beaten the rival in the Burnt Tower. It's very annoying. I reckon we could save quite a fair amount of time if we didn't have to do that sequence in Crystal. One day I will try and do a couple of Pokemon Gold challenges just for the Uncanny Valley effect, but that is still a long way off. I'd have to code the challenge patch from scratch, because Pokemon Gold is slightly different under the hood to a Pokemon Crystal. Now let's take on our rival number 3. He's here in the Burnt Tower, and he leads with his Haunter. We've got Earthquake, so that should be a one-shot on the Haunter. We'll throw a rock at the Zubat, and it will fall to the floor. Quilava's next. We will move the ground under its seat to make sure it goes out, and then we'll move the ground under the Magnemite as well. Yep, nice and easy rival battle there. That does get us a couple of extra free points, getting us up to 17, which is almost a fifth of a SuperMON. Did I just have a weird thing in the party menu? Gonna pretend that didn't happen. It might have just been a phantom effect because I'm watching two screens at once with the same gameplay. But that does now mean we can make our way into the next gym. This gym is my least favourite in all of Generation 2. It is the least interesting. You may have noticed in virtually every video we have together, I end up cutting this entire gym out. There is nothing interesting at all about battling the same bloody line over and over again. The only thing that's vaguely interesting is there is a shortcut that I never ever take in this gym because I find it to be more of a pest than anything else. I'll show you the shortcut now actually as we take a very quick heal. I always go this way, but you can go this way and skip that medium there. But the way I see it, she's got two mid-stages, and battling a mid-stage gives a lot more experience than any other early stage Pokemon you can get in the area. So it doesn't feel like quite as much of a waste to me as it otherwise would do if it was kind of a punch trainer. Say if that 5 Ghastly man was in her spot, I'd always skip. But because she's a fairly easy quick battle, I'll never skip her. I'm taking a risk here now. I'm not getting the Minceberry for Morty. We shouldn't need it. Emphasis on shouldn't. There is always a chance that that doesn't come to fruition. We get rid of Ghastly. I was expecting him to swear there, actually. We get rid of Haunter. How about the Gengar? Oh, we didn't outspeed. I thought we would. It's fine. We risked it, and we didn't pay the price. But that, to me, says I should be a little bit more careful than I have been. That could have been dangerous, but we do get up to 20 points on the board. Now, one thing that we have now in SuperMON, courtesy of Snowy, is spinners should start facing away from us. But it didn't seem to happen there. It's kind of semi-reliable. I've adapted Snowy's code. It's a thing on me. It's not on Snowy, but as we're walking past, we shouldn't trigger any spinners as long as we're moving. That's the idea anyway. If we do bump into them and give them a little bit of a kiss, we will end up having to battle them. But then that's on us for not respecting their personal space. We're going to get rid of these Slowpoke. Hopefully we don't get paralysed. Sometimes I should just keep my big gob shut, shouldn't I? Because I tempt fate all too bloody often. We're going to go back to Ecruteak. We'll take another quick heal. But I do want to take on the trainers up top as well. Let's get on the bike as well. I've not been on the bike much yet this challenge. We'll take on Sailor Harry here with his Wooper. I love Wooper. I just wish Wooper was a little bit better than Wooper is. Because the Wooper into Quagsire challenge is really fun. It's just not that good. We get walled by Rival 2 with Wooper, and bad times are had all round. Hopefully, I'll find a nice solution for 4 moves with Quagsire. And one thing I have been thinking about a lot, actually, is bringing in some of the middle and first stage Pokemon into the challenge. I think that would be a really fun twist. Especially with 4 moves, it will mean we're not struggling quite so much at the start, and I think we could end up posting some pretty good times. I trialled it at the start of last year with Poliwhirl and Pikachu, and maybe Clefairy, but I don't know if that video ever made it to air. But my idea with this one is to do it in 4 moves, and I think that's going to add a lot more fun to the challenge than it would do with our standard time challenges, which, to be honest, I don't think are coming back at all at the moment, at least not in the next 6 to 12 months. The leaderboard that I've got at the moment, I'm kind of happy with it. It's not a full leaderboard, but it is a good leaderboard. And there is something that other runners say, which I completely agree with. The leaderboard itself is only an indication of one thing with the Pokemon, and that is how I played with that Pokemon. It is not necessarily an indication of that Pokemon's abilities. Yes, you will have different rungs on the leaderboard where a Pokemon will have a theoretical maximum limit, but a lot of it comes down to luck, a lot of it comes down to how I play on the day. And only about the last 15 or so results are truly accurate results. Anything before that, it's going on old strats, it's going on old gameplay. I was less experienced at the game, but I still enjoy having the leaderboard format. I'm not a big fan of trying to group things into different categories, because much like the leaderboard is ever evolving, those categories are going to be ever evolving. If we'd have done a tier list, for instance, which is one of the things I was thinking about, and I think I actually did at the end of like video 2, then those bounds would have had to have changed at least 5 or 6 times in the time we have been doing challenges together, because the standard of gameplay across the board is going up and up and up. Not just from me, but from everybody who runs Gen 2. If we look back 4 years before I started the channel, and I'm not saying this is because of me, I'm saying that this is the standard that was the standard at the time, a 1.5 hour run was considered very, very good and very, very fast. Now, a lot of us are regularly posting sub-hour times, and that really does just go to show how much of a bloody difference hammering Generation 2 has done to the times that are theoretically possible. But we mustn't focus on the speed running at the moment here in Generation 2. We are focused all on the survival runs. So I'm going to stop thinking about speedrun strats, and I'm going to start thinking about how we're going to get through the next part of the challenge. I am in two minds at the moment as to whether we take on Price or Jazz next. There is a big school of thought that I'm thinking we take on Jasmine next, because it's going to give us the most out of the experience points we will gain from the Mahogany hideouts. Now, I know some of you aren't too happy when I take on Jasmine before Price, but the way I see it, I've got to try and get the most out of this mid-game. I've got to try and get all the experience points I can possibly get. Let us now use a Swords Dance there, and we'll get through the Poliwrath. Very, very easy battle there in the end. A little bit of luck, but we did make it through to get 23 points on the board. So with all that said, I do think we're going to take on Jasmine next. We're going to hold on to a Purr's Cure Berry. That will prevent us from being paralysed from the first Thunder Wave. And we are absolutely guaranteed to be one-shotting her Magnemite anyway. So I think the plan will be Swords Dance once against the Magnemite, then Swords Dance again once we're at the Steelix, and then hopefully one or two shot the Steelix. Whether it will happen is a different matter, but that is what I am going to play for. That's what I think will be the best chance of us getting through. I am going to take on this Bird Keeper, just because he's got a lot of Pokemon, and that means we're going to get an awful lot of stat experience under our belts just for battling him. That's one of the other differences. I focus a lot on the stat experience in this challenge, and I focus on the high Pokemon volume trainers, because they are able to give us a lot more stat experience than a trainer with, say, 2 or 3 Pokemon. There is a 6 Pokemon trainer in the sea quite near here, but I don't particularly like taking him on because he's a real pain. He's one... Oh dear, didn't know the Abloom could do that. Let's escape rope and let's go and do another quick heal. I am wondering, do I want to try and get up to 31? Maybe we do. We'll take on him as well. I don't think we're going to be in too much danger at Jasmine, but I do want to be careful. This trainer, for instance, he's only got 2 Pokemon. That's not particularly good. This one, however, has 3 Pokemon, and there's a lot of physical defense stat experience in Shelder. We like Shelder for this. We have grown up to 31, and now we'll take on the Wartortle as well. There we go. We have enough stat experience now to take, or enough experience points, I should say, to at least try Jasmine. I'm not committed yet. I am going to think, and I'll get back to you. So here's my logic. We're probably going to need a little bit of luck, either at Jasmine or at Price. There is a chance that with Price, we end up taking a lot of damage from the Ice-type moves, but there's a chance here at Jasmine that we end up taking a lot of damage from the Steel-type moves. However, the Steel-type moves are less accurate, and they are not super effective. So I do think that Jasmine is the play here, especially because we can boost our physical attack. So we're going to give it a go. This is Jasmine. She is gym leader number 6. She's a Steel-type specialist, leads with Magnemite. We're going to Swords Dance. We get the double Swords Dance. We get the triple Swords Dance. Goodness me. I think we might be on for a winner here. Let's see how much we do. We one-shot Steelix with a physical move. Yep, this was the right play. I am going to have another quick double check of the code. I do just want to double check that was luck. I'll do this on camera. I'm setting a save here, and then I need to undo that state, don't I? Yeah, if I undo this save state, because I want to prove that this isn't the engine being manipulated, undo the save state, that brings us back to Jasmine. I just want to see if Thunderwave hits or if I've messed up the code, because if I've messed up the code, then something went wrong in the challenge. There we go. We do get the Thunderwave actually connecting, so yeah, not a problem with the code. We just got very, very, very lucky. But I do like doing that kind of verification, especially on camera, so that we know that it's not a Lance the Liar run. Have we gone back enough in time? Yes, we have. Level cap is back at 40. So yeah, that was just a very, very lucky battle. Didn't expect it to be that lucky. I think you heard I was as shocked as you were that we got through that battle quite so easily, but I'm not going to complain. Makes our life easier here in the SuperMON challenge, makes it so that we don't have to fret, and we do now have Claire's level cap in play. The level cap can only go up, it can never go down, and as a result of that, and with the way the level cap is coded, it does mean we do now have the level 40 cap. It's not going to make a difference really until we get to price, and all we are doing here is playing smart. We are using the game to our advantage. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that in the slightest. It's something that has been allowed since the very first SuperMON challenge and will be allowed for every single SuperMON challenge. The challenge is playing the game as it's presented to you, not playing the game with arbitrary restrictions barring the level cap. I say that, actually, the entire point of any challenge run is to play with arbitrary restrictions. But what I mean by that is not going against the spirit of how the game plays. And I think if we were to say you have to do the gyms in this order, it would be totally unfair on certain Pokemon that would struggle against Price but thrive against Jasmine. So yeah, I do think we will keep it this way forever, because I like it this way and I'm the one playing the challenge, to put it bluntly. And if I like it, then I hope you like it as well. Of course, I'm always open to feedback. It's not all set in stone. We've played around so much with the rules at this point that the rules of the challenge are virtually unrecognisable from the very first challenges we had here on the channel. And all of those rule changes have been suggestions from you lovely people out there. So I'm not averse to change, it's just I don't want to give any Pokemon an arbitrary disadvantage because of some extra rules. I think that's what I'm trying to articulate, but I ain't doing it very well, because my brain isn't quite all back yet. But with that, we can make our way back to Mahogany Town. I'll do the rockets, and we'll meet back up for Price. And so that is the rockets taken care of for another SuperMON challenge. Very, very easy stuff in here. I did take on quite a few of the rockets, so I did a few extra trainers than I otherwise would have done in a time challenge, just to try and make the most of the experience while it was available to us. And that now means we can make our way in to Price's gym. This is gym number 7. We're going to hopefully not get Border Douglas. I don't particularly want to face Border Douglas, thank you very much. He is an incredibly annoying trainer, so we are going to skip him. I don't like him. Normally in the old patch he would permanently face up, but turns out I didn't code that quite correctly, which is why I'm allowing myself to skip around there. We will take on Price now though. He is our 7th gym leader, hopefully of 16. He leads with Seal. We're going to use Seal as a little bit of setup, because Aurora Beam isn't hitting too hard because it's not stab from Seal. We'll use a Body Slam on the Seal. We should then hopefully one-shot the Dugong as well. We'll grow up to 36. Here comes the Piloswine. It's another one-shot, so we didn't need to worry at all there. That does mean we have the Glacier Badge. We're up to 30 points on the board. And we do get our call now from Professor Elm. Going to do a very quick PP heal here in the Pokemon Center. And we're going to start heading east. I've not done the housekeeping yet in this challenge, and it's been a little while since I've shown you the housekeeping, so I will refresh us all. with what I do and what items I pick up in that little mid-game section. Normally I do it just before the rockets to try and streamline everything together in a time challenge. But here in SuperMON, because we're not running on the same kind of time limits as we are in 4 moves, I do it in a slightly different place. The ice path doesn't change though. I'll get on the bike, I'll stop being a wimp in here. I seem to have forgotten about the bike a lot of the time in our challenges at the moment, so that is slowing me down ever so slightly, not too extremely though, so it isn't making too much of a difference. I must remember though to stay on the bike as often as I can. This is a bit of hard movement on the bike. You've got to really just tap up very quickly. And in case you're not aware, I play controller as opposed to keyboard, so it's kind of difficult on modern controllers because the D-pads aren't really made that well. It's something that I really have a big bone to pick about. Like, I really wish there would be a good controller for aftermarket, for PC, with the turbo paddles at the back like I've got on this controller, that also then has a solid D-pad. The D-pad on this is absolutely garbage. It is so loose, it's so flappy, and it doesn't really work as well as I'd like a D-pad to work. My fingers get caught on it all the time, and it isn't that great, but it is the best controller I've found for solo running purposes. Still a very loose D-pad, not quite the clicky buttons that I would like, but it is only 30 quid as well. I think I'm on to my 5th controller of this type in 4 years, so about 10 months per controller. I can't really complain too much at that. Now, as for the housekeeping, I always start off going to Newbark Town. I normally have a rappel on at this point. We'll stick one on now, and we go and have a little chat with this bloke. That's why he never talks to us when we are in the 4 moves challenge. I do it off camera, and normally what I would do is I pick up the ladder at this point in here as well. Now, the reason I do this is because then you can fly back to Johto when you've not been to the league. Then we go to Violet City, we pick up the rare candy here, and we also go over into this lake here, and we pick up this PP up. Rappel's worn off just about now, so that means we can use another one. We'll use a regular rappel for the next part of this. I go to Azalea and I pick up the charcoal from the maker here. Oh, our bag is full. That doesn't happen too often. It's probably because we're hoarding potions like nobody's business, and I do normally sell a load of garbage by this point, but the charcoal's going to be the penultimate item we pick up in the housekeeping. The last one is down here. We're going to pick up the Nougat, and we're also going to pick up this last rare candy. So it's the penultimate, not the actual penultimate. Teleports back to Goldenrod City. Then I always go up to this dude here, and then I just look in my bag and I look for crap that we don't need anymore. And I say, here, take my crap and pay me for it. And he does. He's very kind like that. So we do have an awful lot of stuff in this bag that we're just never ever going to use, but it is always useful to have in the bag. We're not going to use any of the TMs, so we can sell all of this for cash money moolah as well. We're going to sell our balls. We don't need our balls in this challenge. How many balls do we have? Oh, we've got 8 balls today. We're doing very well ball-wise. Get rid of all of those, and then another quick scan of the bag, see if there's anything else I don't think I'll want to keep hold of. I think everything else is fairly useful in here. So then let's take a look. We can take 5 more protein. We're going to do that. We're going to spend just under half our money there. Then I want to get 2 iron, and I want to get 2 calcium. And then we can't afford anything else at the moment. Is it worth selling the HP up that I said I wasn't going to sell? I think I might have sold it anyway, just through sheer habit. Or did I even get it? I might not have even gotten the HP up. We're about to find out, and then we will see from there, because if we've got the HP up already ready to pick up, then I will go and sell it. Let's take a little look. Did I forget to get it? Yeah, I did forget to get it. So we'll get the HP up here in the Burnt Tower, and then we should just be able to rent elaborate our way back to Goldenrod. It's little things like that, that when I have my flow for 4 moves, it all comes naturally. When I do SuperMON, it ends up being a little bit more of a slow and tedious process for my brain to figure things out. So I think we're going to get another calcium here, because I want to boost our special defense. Special defense is going to be imperative at red. Oh, we overbought with the protein because we already had one in the bag. That's fine, because I can sell this protein, and then I'll be able to make up that money a little bit later on. Don't quite have enough for more vitamin usage, so let's use all 3 of these. We're then going to use our PP ups as well. I think we do all of them in Ancient Power, you know, because we can get another couple of PP ups if we need to. Body Slam's fine at 15. Earthquake's fine at 10 at the moment, but Ancient Power is going to be useful, especially against trainers like Lance. But with that, I go in for a heal, whether I need to or not in SuperMON. And now I've got rockets to do. I'll see you on the other side of them. I got a little bit carried away with myself then. Almost started Rival 4 without recording again. This is Rival 4. He's going to lead with Golbat. We're going to try an Ancient Power. We don't quite one-shot, but we do get an Omni Boost. That is very nice. Wasn't expecting one of those. That'll make the rest of the battle incredibly easy now. We did hit level cap as well during that first part of the rocket, so we can gain no more levels between here and the end of Claire's little part of the challenge. So that does mean the rest of these battles are completely bloody pointless. The rockets in 4 moves, they are tedious, but at least we're gaining experience. The rockets in SuperMON, I don't like them. I really, really, really don't like them. This is the part of the challenge I find hardest to get through in SuperMON, because it's tedious, it's mindless, the battles mean nothing, it's just wasting everybody's time. And I am very tempted to try a SuperMON with the rocketless option on, to see if it makes any difference at all, or if it's just going to save time, save effort, and really just make the run a little bit more pleasant, because the rockets in this generation, they're not good. They're just an afterthought, it feels. They're something to pad out the storyline, and I would much prefer to have a fully fleshed out 16-badge storyline, where Team Rocket is a little bit more of a threat, and then the Kanto region is higher leveled. Maybe you have to do the Pokemon League after all 16 badges or something, instead of this, which is just completely half-baked. I'm not going to make you sit through any more of these. I can tell that this isn't that exciting content, so I'll skip ahead to the final rocket. And so we have now made it through to the final rockets here in the radio tower. The suffering is almost over. We'll get rid of the Houndour in one hit. He's going to send out Coughing. We'll swap to Earthquake. No Levitate in this game, thank goodness. It's a one hit. The Houndoom comes out to play. We get rid of it in an Earthquake. And we are now free of the rockets. Thank goodness for that. Oh, that was long. It was tedious. It wasn't particularly hard. And it was just a snooze fest. We'll get the pink bow from Marie. And then we'll also go down and grab the radio card. It is 112, 1 and 2 for the answers. And that gets us the radio card, and we can move on to Azalea Blackthorn. Thinking of the music that should change in the background there. I'm thinking it should be Azalea, but I think it's still currently Route 26. I've got to recode it ever so slightly. Let's now take on Claire's gym. We've still got that Persecure Berry that we held onto from the beginning of the Jasmine battle. I am going to take it off in a moment though, because there's a chance we could get paralysed beforehand, and I want to hold on to that berry for a little bit later on. Also going to put Earthquake in top spot, because Earthquake is going to be slightly more powerful than a Body Slam at this moment in time, I do believe. Even with all of the boosts to our normal type moves, I think Earthquake does slightly clinch it. I'm going to take off the berry now so that I don't forget, because it's going to be the trainer after this one that I want to take on. He's a good idea of how well or badly we're going to do against Claire. And I think it is going to be fairly tricky, you know, against Claire. Could be a chance of going down. I really hope we don't, though. Let's see how we do here against this Dragonair. We're going to Swords Dance. We do get a Gen 2 miss, which is brilliant, and one Swords Dance did get rid of his Dragonair. That is really, really good to know. That is kind of positive. Let's use an Ether here, because we're not really going to be using Ethers for any of the rest of the challenge. We've got Pokemon Centers, and we've got Elixirs if we need to. Oh, nuts. We have been paralysed here. We've got to get a teeny tiny bit lucky here and hope we aren't fully paralysed, which didn't happen. so we are not in danger. Let's use a full heal, and then let's use up both of these super potions. We're going to hold on to the Periskia Berry, and we are going to give Claire a go. She is our final Jotonian leader, regardless of what happens now. She is a Dragon-type specialist. She leads with Dragonair. We're able to get off one Swords Dance before getting paralysed. Dragonair number 2 comes out. Again, it's going to be a one-shot. Dragonair number 3 comes out. There is still a chance of paralysis courtesy of the Kingdra. Let's try a Body Slam, see how much that does. A little bit more than I thought, but we still get through very, very easily. That is a huge relief. That is one of the tougher battles potentially for Meganium. Not having Hidden Power Ice means we do really have to play around our berries for Claire. And I'm very glad that we only had to consume the one berry in Johto. We're going to stick on another Super Repel now. And this guy, he is a SuperMON run killer. But I don't think he has any Thunder Wave on his Dragonair. So I don't worry quite so much about him when it comes to holding on to the Periskia Berry. We'll get through the Whirlpool now, and we will answer exactly the same as what we did in the Radio Tower. It's 1, 1, 2, 1 and 2. That gets us the final Jotonian badge. Claire comes into the Dragon's Den, and we have 42 points on the board. We're almost halfway to being a SuperMON. We're going to start getting even more points now, because we're about to start heading towards the Pokémon League. Now, we do have 2 levels we can gain between here and the beginning of the Will battle. We'll have to see just how many levels we end up gaining through random trainers that we take on. So we're back onto here. We're going to say hello to him again, but this time we're going to go up the waterfall and into Kanto proper. I don't want to take on Megan today. I don't think Megan would be a particularly useful fight. What about Psychic Gilbert though? He's going to star me. We should hopefully be able to two-shot this thing with Body Slam. And then he also has an Execute. I think we just throw a rock at that thing. Oh, he has gone for a little bit of the old Reflect there, which is a bit annoying. And then we'll Body Slam the Girafarig. He's gone for Baton Pass. It's absolutely meaningless. Let's take on Rena as well. This time I'm just going to Swords Dance against the Starmie. And then we'll go in for Body Slamming. I think that'll be absolutely fine. One thing you'll notice, though, is we are not getting the one-shots we would expect at this point of the challenge if it was a time challenge. That is because of the level cap. We are going in far less powerful than we would be at this point of the challenge. We'd normally be, call it 47, 48 at this point if we've done a few trainers. Maybe even up to 50 with this experienced group. So yeah, we are running a lot less powerful, and that means we are a lot less secure than we would be in a standard challenge. Look at that there, it took 2 Ancient Powers to get rid of the Parasect. We've been very lucky with Confusion as well. We've not been hit by Confusion at all. This Rapidash could be dangerous. I'm hoping it won't be. I'm hoping Earthquake will one-shot, but if it didn't, then we could have been in a little bit of danger. As it turns out, we were absolutely fine. We'll get the Max Elixir, and now we can start making our way through to Victory Road. We will stick on a Super Repel again, and then we've got 1 left for the last section. I'll move the Max Repels up to top spot, and now we can go around and pick up the HP up, because we sold the other one. I said I wasn't going to sell it, but then I needed to sell it because I accidentally sold something else. No, I bought an extra protein, didn't I? So we did end up needing to use it. This is Rival 5, by the way. He leads with Sneasel. There's his title card. This isn't going to be a particularly interesting battle. We are going to set up 2 Swords Dances. We'll Earthquake against the Sneasel. We'll Ancient Power against the Golbat. We will then Earthquake against the Typhlosion. After that comes the Magneton. We'll stick on with the Earthquake. And then he's just got Haunter and Kadabra left to go. It's Earthquake for both of them. They're both going to be one-shots. And we do get through. That's the rival done for this SuperMON challenge, getting us up to 38 points. I think I said we had 42 points before. That was our level cap. We have 38 points, 38. Let us buy a bunch of full restores here. We don't need anything else. And we will head into the league. Our first league member is going to be Will. I'm going to hold on to a Bitterberry for this battle. He is a Psychic type specialist. He's going to lead with Xatu. Bitterberry, so that we inevitably get confused and snap out of it. We'll use an Ancient Power. We get rid of it in one. Jinx is next. Ancient Power is super effective. We can get rid of her as well. Executor is third. I am going to go for another Sword Stance here, because, yeah, I was expecting Reflect. There's not too much that this Executor can do, so we will get rid of it in 2 shots, and then a Body Slam should be enough for the Xatu. No, it's not. Forgot Reflect was up. Slowbro's last. Let's try a Body Slam here. Amnesia's fine. We are through. Will defeated. That does mean we can take on Koga next. Gonna use a full restore. We'll bring those up to the top of the bag. Get up to full health again. How are we doing PP wise? We're absolutely fine, and we'll take him on now. Koga is league member number 2. He leads with Ariados. We're going to set up a Sword Stance, then we're going to try and throw a rock at this Ariados. We finally connect, and we can move on to Venomoth. Another rock against the Venomoth is a one-shot. Muck is third. Interesting. I was expecting Fortress. Crobat's next. Goodness me, my strategy's kind of gone out the window here, because I was planning on Fortress being third. Right, okay, let's see if we can still get through this. We are toxic, which isn't great. Hopefully we can get... Oh, no, he's stalling. Oh, no, 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 no. That's it. That's our lot. Oh, that is partly on me. I thought Koga was going to go for the Fortress after the Venomoth like he normally does. It didn't happen, and we do end up losing the run. We get 42 points in total for our Meganium. I'm gutted on this one. I don't want to take it to completion. Quite honestly, it's taken the wind out of my sails a little bit, but that is part of the risk of SuperMON. Sometimes you just don't quite get what you expect out of the run. So 42 points is still perfectly respectable. We'll now see where that places Meganium on our SuperMON leaderboard. And so that does put us on the last page, 17th place for our Meganium on the SuperMON challenge. Still, could have been better, could have been an awful lot worse. We're ahead of Love Disc, so we are doing better than our previous SuperMON challenge. It's still Jinx on top at the moment. She was our most recent SuperMON. Victory Bell down to Clefable. They are all SuperMON. They are all on page 1. Gengar is heading up page number 2. That is 9 SuperMON clears out of 21 runs so far, so we are under 50% again. That just means I'd better get my act together for the next SuperMON challenge. It's going to be in a couple of weeks to a few weeks' time, depending on how I am feeling mentally and physically, but I really hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope the ending wasn't too anticlimactic for you. We'll definitely redo Meganium on stream at some point in the future as well, see if we can get our revenge. But for now, I will say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, as it always is, running a Pokemon challenge for you. This channel is not possible without your support. So I'm going to say I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever it is you're getting up to. And I'll catch you all very, very soon.